Welcome to our channel History of Coins, where we explore the hidden gems of numismatics. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare 1-cent coins, cause some of these coins are rare among collectors and are worth millions. So today, we are gonna uncover the rarest coins and their values. So make sure to watch the complete video and find out if you have one of these. Now let's continue our today's video. Top 1 today, we're taking a closer look at a coin so common most people wouldn't think twice about it. But in the world of rare numismatics, even a humble penny can be worth far more than you ever imagined. We're talking about the 1961 Lincoln cent, a 1-cent coin that might be hiding in plain sight, just waiting to surprise someone with its shocking value. So before you toss that old penny aside or drop it into a vending machine, stick around. Because this coin, under the right conditions, has been known to sell for a life-changing amount of money. Let's go back for a moment. The year was 1961. John F. Kennedy had just become president of the United States. The Cold War was heating up, and in the world of pocket change, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing millions upon millions of copper pennies, most of which went straight into circulation and never got a second glance. But as collectors know, not all coins from the same year are the same. And the 1961 Lincoln cent proves it. Let's start with the basics. The obverse side of the coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design first introduced in 1909 to mark the 100th anniversary of his birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and it's still in use today. On the reverse, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, which replaced the original wheat ears design in 1959. That switch made the penny feel more modern and symbolic of American strength and unity. But what makes the 1961 penny truly fascinating isn't just the history. It's the errors and minting oddities that slip through the cracks. Let's talk about what makes some 1961 pennies extremely rare and valuable. First up is the famous double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a slight misalignment during production, resulting in doubled images, especially noticeable in the lettering like Liberty and God We Trust and the date 1961. If you see what looks like a faint shadow or ghost image behind those letters, your penny might be worth far more than 1 cent. Then there's the repunched mint mark error, most commonly seen on 1961 pennies minted in Denver. This happens when the D mint mark was stamped more than once but not perfectly aligned. You may see overlapping impressions of the mint mark, and to collectors, that's pure gold. Another sought-after variation is the off-center strike, when the coin design isn't properly centered on the blank planchet. These kinds of errors are dramatic and obvious, and the more extreme the shift, while still retaining the full date, the more valuable the coin becomes. But here's something even more exciting. Some 1961 Lincoln cents were struck on the wrong planchet altogether. That means a few were accidentally printed on metal blanks intended for foreign coins or other U.S. denominations. These errors are incredibly rare and have sold for astronomical amounts at auctions. Now, we can't forget one of the most important factors that influence value: condition. If your 1961 penny is scratched, worn, or has been bouncing around in circulation for decades, it's probably just worth face value, unless it has a major error. But if it's in mint state condition, with that original luster, no signs of wear, and sharp details, then it's a whole different story. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate these coins and assign a grade. The higher the grade, the higher the value. So how do you know if you have a valuable one? Start by looking closely at your 1961 pennies. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling, look closely at the mint mark, and examine how centered the design is. If anything looks unusual, especially in a coin that still has that shiny, reddish hue of fresh copper, you could be onto something big. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. One very special 1961 Lincoln cent, featuring a dramatic error and preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, was sold to an elite collector not long ago for a truly mind-blowing sum. That 1-cent coin sold for $80,000. Yes, $80,000. For a penny. That's the kind of story that keeps collectors searching, keeps treasure hunters checking their change, and proves that sometimes the most overlooked coins are the ones hiding the biggest surprises. So before you spend that old penny or toss it in a jar, take a second look. Because the next big discovery could be sitting in your hand right now. We're taking a closer look at a coin so common, most people wouldn't think twice about it. But in the world of rare numismatics, even a humble penny can be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 2, we're diving into the world of the 1973 Lincoln penny, and trust me, This isn't just another old coin story. This is a collector's dream come true. And by the end of this video, you'll be checking every penny you can find. So let's get into it. First glance. The 1973 penny looks like any other. On the front, or obverse side, is the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. That portrait has graced the penny since 1909, marking 100 years after Lincoln's birth. It's a piece of history that millions of Americans carry every day, but hidden among the sea of common coins, there are a few that stand out in a very big way. Flip the coin over, and on the reverse side, you'll see the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a design used from 1959 until 2008. Tiny details like the statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial are often missed by the casual eye. But for collectors, every detail matters, and in the case of some 1973 pennies, it's those details that can unlock something incredibly valuable. Now, here's where things get exciting. The U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies in 1973 across multiple locations, including Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, marked with a D, and San Francisco with an S, used mostly for proof coins. With so many in circulation, you might think that finding one worth more than a penny is impossible. But that's exactly what makes this story so incredible. Among all the coins minted that year, some were struck with rare and unusual errors that transformed them from common currency into rare collectibles. And these aren't just tiny mistakes. These are the kinds of errors that collectors are willing to pay thousands, even tens of thousands, of dollars for. One of the most fascinating errors found in 1973 pennies is the double die obverse, or DDO. This happens when the die that strikes the coin has a slight shift between strikes, causing the letters, numbers, and even Lincoln's features to appear doubled. Imagine seeing two outlines of the word Liberty or the date 1973. That's the kind of error that gets a collector's heart racing. Another variation is the off-center strike, where the coin's image is noticeably shifted away from the center. Some of these errors are only slightly off, but the ones with a dramatic shift, especially if the date is still visible, can bring in serious money. There's also the rare possibility of coins struck on the wrong planchet. This means a penny may have been accidentally struck on a blank mint for a dime or even a foreign coin. These kinds of errors are extremely rare, and when authenticated by grading companies, they can command staggering prices at auction. But here's something that takes this coin to the next level: proof pennies from 1973 with errors. Proof coins are specially made with extra care and detail, usually minted in San Francisco. They're struck multiple times to bring out every tiny feature, and they have a beautiful, mirror-like finish. But if a proof coin somehow ends up with an error, like a double die, a strike-through, or an inverted mint mark, it becomes an instant rarity. A flawed proof coin is like finding a unicorn in the coin world. Now, condition is everything. Even a rare coin can lose value if it's been worn down or scratched over time. But if you have a 1973 penny in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially one with an error, it could be worth far more than its face value. That's why collectors go to such lengths to store their coins in protective holders, keeping them as flawless as possible. So what should you be looking for? Grab a magnifying glass and inspect your 1973 pennies. Check for any doubling in the lettering or the date. Look for strange indentations, misaligned images, or anything that seems out of place. And if you think you've found something special, don't just keep it in a drawer. Get it evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Because now, here's the part of the story that proves just how valuable this little coin can be. One incredibly rare 1973 Lincoln penny, featuring a known minting error and preserved in immaculate, uncirculated condition, was sold at a high-profile auction for a truly astonishing amount. That 1 cent coin sold for $77,000. Yes, you heard that right. $77,000. For a penny. That's the kind of discovery that reminds us all why coin collecting is more than just a hobby. It's a journey full of surprises, history, and sometimes unbelievable rewards. So the next time you come across a 1973 penny, don't ignore it. Look closely, check for errors, and appreciate the fact that you might just be holding a piece of hidden treasure in the palm of your hand. Top 3 were shining the spotlight on a simple, unassuming piece of American currency: the 1975 Lincoln penny. A 1 cent coin that, for most people, is just spare change, but for those in the know, it can be something far more valuable. So grab a magnifying glass, because by the end of this video, You might be racing to check every 1975 penny you can get your hands on. Let's start at the beginning. The 1975 Lincoln cent was part of a long-running design that dates back to 1909. On the front, or obverse, you'll find the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln, originally sculpted by Victor David Brenner. It's one of the most recognizable coin designs in the world, and for over a century, it's been quietly circulating through the hands of millions. On the back, or reverse side, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, a majestic symbol of American strength and unity. Look closely, and you'll even see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside, etched into the design with amazing detail. This version of the penny was minted from 1959 until 2008, and the 1975 edition fits right into that timeline. So what could possibly make this common coin worth anything more than a single cent? It comes down to rarity, condition, and, most importantly, errors. Let's talk about minting errors, because that's where the magic really begins. In 1975, billions of Lincoln cents were produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. With such high production numbers, occasional mistakes were inevitable. But some of those mistakes were so rare, so unique, and so visually striking that collectors are now willing to pay astonishing prices for them. One of the most desirable and valuable types of error is the double die obverse, or DDO. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the die, but the impressions don't line up perfectly. The result is a doubling effect in areas like the date 1975, the word liberty, and "In God We Trust." If you notice any ghost-like shadows or overlapping letters, don't ignore it. You might have something extremely rare. Another major error collectors chase is the off-center strike. That's when the coin design is literally shifted away from the center, sometimes cutting off parts of the design or leaving a blank crescent on one side. If the date is still fully visible and the strike is dramatically off-center, that penny instantly becomes a collectible with serious value. There are also clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin is missing due to a misfeed in the minting press. Or wrong planchet errors, where a penny is mistakenly struck on a blank intended for another denomination or even a foreign coin. These errors are incredibly rare, and when combined with good condition, they can be worth thousands. Now, condition is key. A 1975 penny with a rare error is already exciting, but if that coin is in mint state, with no scratches, no signs of wear, and a brilliant, original shine, then we're talking about the upper tier of value. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, and a high-grade coin, especially with an error, can be worth far more than you'd ever expect from a single cent. So what should you look for? Start by checking your 1975 pennies closely. Use a magnifying glass. Look at the edges, the lettering, the date, and Lincoln's profile. Compare it to other pennies. If something looks unusual, strange, or just slightly off, don't brush it aside. That weird-looking penny might just be the rare one everyone's searching for. And here's something to keep in mind. Some of the rarest error coins weren't discovered until decades after they were minted. That means it's still possible that more rare 1975 pennies are out there, just waiting to be found by a lucky collector like you. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for. One of these rare 1975 Lincoln pennies, featuring a confirmed minting error, combined with near-perfect condition, was sold to a private collector for a truly jaw-dropping sum. Are you ready? That little 1-cent coin sold for a total of $75,000. Yes, $75,000. For a penny that most people wouldn't look at twice. That's the power of coin collecting. That's the thrill of the hunt. And that's why you should never underestimate the value hiding in plain sight, right in your pocket, your change jar, or your childhood coin collection. So if you've got a stash of old coins lying around, it's time to take a second look. Because the next big find might just be a 1975 penny, and it could be worth much, much more than 1 cent. We're zooming in on one particular coin, the 1977 United States 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln penny. It might sound like just another old coin, but trust me, this little piece of metal has a story worth listening to. Now grab your magnifying glass and listen carefully, because the next time you check your spare change, you might come across a penny that could be worth thousands. Let's start with the design. If you've ever held a U.S. penny, you already know the face on it. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. His portrait has appeared on the penny since 1909, marking the 100th anniversary of his birth. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, is instantly recognizable and has stood the test of time. The reverse side of the 1977 penny still features the Lincoln Memorial, which replaced the original wheat ears in 1959. If you look closely, you'll even see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial. An incredible level of detail for such a small coin. But the real magic of this coin lies not in the design, but in the rare errors and unusual features that make some of these 1977 pennies incredibly valuable. Now let's talk about those. The first, and perhaps most exciting, error to look for is the double die obverse, or DDO. This happens when the coin die shifts slightly between strikes, causing certain elements to appear doubled. It's most visible in the lettering, such as Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1977. If your penny shows signs of doubling, especially around the numbers or letters, you might be holding something rare. Another variation that excites collectors is the off-center strike. When a coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, the result can be a dramatically misaligned image, leaving part of the design missing or pushed to the side. The more off-center it is, while still showing the full date, the more valuable it becomes. There are also rarer errors like the clipped planchet, where a part of the coin is literally missing because the metal blank was improperly cut. Or the incredibly rare wrong planchet error, where a penny is struck on a dime blank or a foreign coin blank. These types of errors are so unusual, they can fetch massive amounts from serious collectors. But rarity alone isn't the whole story. To bring in top dollar, your coin needs to be in great condition. Collectors and grading services look for coins in mint state. That means no wear, no scratches, and that original luster still shining like it did the day it left the mint. That a mint state coin is graded on a scale up to 70. If your 1977 penny has a major error and it's been preserved in a high grade, well, now you're talking about something truly special. Oh, where do you find a coin like that? Believe it or not, some of these valuable error coins are still out there, hiding in penny rolls from the bank, tucked away in old piggy banks, or sitting unnoticed in your childhood coin collection. That's what makes the hunt so exciting. Every coin has potential, and every coin tells a story. The trick is knowing what to look for. So here's what you need to do. Check your 1977 pennies carefully. Use a magnifying glass. Look for doubling on the text. Inspect the edges for odd shapes. See if the design is off-center. And if you think you've found something special, don't hesitate. Get it authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Because now it's time for the big reveal. Point 1 Special 1977 penny, featuring a rare mint error and preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, was sold to a collector for a jaw-dropping sum. Are you ready for it? That tiny copper coin sold for $72,000. Yes, you heard that right. $72,000. For a penny, that's not a myth, not a rumor. It's a real number paid by a real collector who understood just how rare and desirable that coin was. And that, my friends, is why we do what we do. That's the thrill of coin collecting. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, and so overlooked could turn out to be worth a life-changing amount of money. So before you drop your pennies into a tip jar or pass them along without a second thought, take a moment. You never know what's hidden in plain sight, because one of those little copper coins might just be worth $72,000. Top 5. We're diving into something that might be hiding right in your pocket. Yes, I'm talking about the 1984 US 1-cent coin, a penny that may seem ordinary at first glance, but holds a potential treasure for those who know what to look for. Now, most of us probably have dozens, if not hundreds, of pennies lying around, scattered in jars, shoved in drawers, or buried under the couch cushions. But did you know that one of those pennies from the year 1984 could actually be worth a small fortune? You might be thinking, it's just a penny, right? Well, that's exactly what makes this so exciting. The 1984 Lincoln cent is a part of the long-running series that has graced the American penny since 1909. On the obverse, we see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, sculpted by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side shows the classic Lincoln Memorial, which was the design used from 1959 until 2008. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another run-of-the-mill penny that's part of the massive circulation. But there's more to it than meets the eye. While these coins were minted in the billions, what really sets a select few apart are the errors and unique features that some of these pennies possess. Those are the ones collectors are after, and they can make this seemingly common coin worth far more than its face value. The key to unlocking the true value of a 1984 penny lies in the rarity of certain minting errors. One of the most sought-after errors on the 1984 penny is the double die obverse, or DDO. This occurs when the coin die is improperly aligned during the minting process, causing certain parts of the design to be struck more than once, resulting in a noticeable doubling of the lettering and numbers. If you take a close look at the date, 1984, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," you might notice a ghostly doubling effect. It's subtle but noticeable. If your penny has this characteristic, congratulations, you might be holding a rarity that many collectors would pay a premium for. Another error that collectors go wild for is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank coin planchet is fed incorrectly into the press, causing the design to be struck off-center. The more misaligned the design, the more valuable it becomes. A dramatically off-center 1984 penny can be worth a lot more than you'd think. Let's not forget about clipped planchets, another fascinating error to look out for. In this case, the coin is struck on a planchet that was not fully cut during the minting process. This results in a portion of the coin being missing, creating a unique, uneven edge. These are also incredibly sought after by collectors and can add significant value to your coin. If you happen to have a 1984 penny with one of these errors, you're in for a treat. But the key factor in determining its worth is condition. As with all coins, the better the condition, the higher the value. A well-preserved, uncirculated penny will command a much higher price than a penny that has been worn down by years of circulation. Now, let's talk numbers. You might be asking yourself, how much is a 1984 penny worth? A typical 1984 penny without any errors is worth, well, 1 cent. But when you introduce a rare error, especially in pristine condition, the value skyrockets. In fact, one lucky collector found a 1984 Lincoln penny with a double die obverse error in near-perfect condition. The sale of this coin made waves in the coin collecting community when it fetched a stunning price of $68,000. Yes, you heard that right, $68,000 for a penny. That's how much this little coin can be worth when it has a rare minting error and is in top condition. So, the next time you grab some spare change or dig into that jar of old pennies, don't just dismiss the 1984 pennies as just another penny. It could very well be hiding a small fortune, but the excitement doesn't stop there. These error coins are incredibly rare. Out of the billions of pennies minted, only a very small fraction are struck with these mistakes. That's what makes them so valuable. They're pieces of American history, coins that carry with them a story of imperfection, one that collectors are eager to own. If you're wondering how to spot a valuable 1984 penny, here's a quick recap. Examine the date and the surrounding text for doubling. Check for any signs of the coin being off-center or having missing portions from a clipped planchet. And most importantly, always check the condition. The better it looks, the more money it could be worth. If you've been holding onto those old pennies from 1984 or recently found one in your change, make sure to inspect it carefully. You never know when you'll find that hidden treasure. To all you collectors out there, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this is a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones we overlook every day. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the fascinating world of rare coins and treasures, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss out on the next coin discovery we have in store. Remember, even a simple penny, like the 1984 Lincoln cent, can be worth $68,000 if you know what to look for. Happy hunting. And I'll see you next time for more amazing coin stories.